In this lesson, we're going to learn how to create straps using a different method. Alright, so straps could be easily created using the polygon method. We could come in and we could drag out the shape of our straps. However, I just don't feel like that method gives me a whole lot of flexibility that I would need with straps. So, looking at this, let's come in and let's go to our Create panel, and we're going to go to Shapes and then Splines. Now I'm going to hit L on my keyboard to go to my left view, and I'm going to use my line tool. Now I'm going to create just a custom line to create a strap. So let's go from the front of our backpack here, and we're going to left click one point here, and we hit F3 just to see this a little bit easier. And then I'm going to come out to here, I'm going to left click one more time, down to here, and then out to here. Then we'll right click to end that, and then we're going to go to our Modify panel and then Vertex mode. Now with a line, I have the ability to come in and select the vertices, and I can right click and I can change their tangent type from corner, which gives us this very linear set of lines, and I could change it to something like Bezier. Now Bezier, you'll see that it adds these handles to the line, and it also makes it very smooth. Now to control the smoothness and direction of the line, I'm going to have my Move tool activated, and then I'm also going to constrain the movements to the X and Y. So left click right here on that square on your Move tool. Notice how the X and Y stay highlighted in yellow. And I can grab these handles and I can adjust the line direction and also the smoothness of that line. So we'll come in and we'll create something that kind of looks like an S shape. So now that that has been created, I want to create some geometry using that line. So let's turn off vertex mode, and I'm going to center this up on my backpack. So I'm going to put it right here in the middle. Okay. And to create geometry using this line, I need to create a shape. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go to our Create panel, and let's create a shape. Now we could use a line and create a closed spline, which will create a pattern or a shape for us. But instead, I'm just going to use the rectangle because it's going to be very easy. So in our front view, hitting F on the keyboard, I'm going to left click and drag out a rectangle about this size. Okay. What I'm looking at here is the shape of my strap. So this is the thickness of the strap, and then this is the overall width of that strap. So we can come in and we can make some adjustments as needed. So I can adjust my length, okay, and then also my width, and set those up there. So I'm going to set this to 10, and then I'm going to take my width and we're going to take this up to 50. Okay, that should be a pretty good value for us. So now that I have this shape, how do I get it to associate to the line that I just created? Well, we're going to go to our Create panel, and then we're going to go to Geometry. Now under Geometry, we have the rollout or the menu Compound Objects. Now in here, you'll see that we have this tool called Loft. And what this will do is it will loft or create geometry in a shape that we've created here along a path. Okay, so with our path selected, which is our S-shaped line, let's go ahead and hit Loft. Now here you'll see that we have our creation method. We have Get Path or Get Shape. Now normally what I like to do is I like to have the path selected because it's much easier in my opinion, and then I'll just get the shape by left clicking on that. So once you highlight Get Shape, left click on the shape you want to use, and you'll see that it creates geometry. Now you'll see here that it created that geometry along the right path, but it just doesn't, it's flipped up on its side. So I can still control the way this looks by going to my Modify panel, and I'm working with my Loft object, so let's expand that out and let's select Shape. Here I can select the shape, and it's going to be at one of the ends of our object, more than likely the first vertex that you created in that line. And then I can rotate that shape, and that will change the overall direction in which that was created. So here we have a nice little strap going. Now you'll notice here that we have a lot of polygons to deal with, and I don't like that. So to change the amount of polygons that go into this object, I want to go up to my shape. Let me turn that off. And here in my rollouts, you'll see that I have my skin parameters. If I expand that out, you'll see that I have these options. I have shape steps. And if I drop that down, you'll notice that it begins to get rid of some of that geometry. So let's take it all the way down to 0. Now I also have path steps, and this is going to control the smoothness of that geometry. So I could drop this down to something around 2, and 1 might be pretty good, but let's just go to 2. Let's leave it just like that. So with these steps created, we've created a nice looking little strap here. Now, what is the advantage of using this loft? Why did we want to use it in the first place? I could have created a plane and just pushed and pulled those vertices around. Well, using a loft, we have the ability to access the shape and then also the path. So if we want to modify the shape, we can do so by coming up here. We can move it around, we can adjust things like its alignment and all of that. Or we could also adjust its path. So with path selected, you'll notice that line comes up. And if I expand line and go to vertex, if I hit F3, you'll see the vertices show up for that particular object. So now I can come in and I can move these shapes. So I can move this vertex and it will change my geometry, making it very, very flexible for creating multiple shapes using this. Okay, so if I don't like the way a certain strap is looking, I can just change the overall path here. So now that I have this created, let's create one more strap that comes up here from the bottom and connects with this one. And in the next lesson, what we'll do is we'll create the buckles for this. So with this loft selected, okay, let's hold down Shift and drag that down. Okay, and let's drag it down in the Y. Let's grab our Move tool, and there we go. Let's grab our Move tool here. Let me pull that down, holding down Shift. There we go. And we're going to make that a copy. We do not want to make it an instance, because if we change it to instance, if we make any modifications to one, it's going to make modifications to the other, and I don't want that. So let's hit OK. And then here in my left view, I'm going to hit F3, and I'm going to go ahead and expand my loft, and then go to Path. Let's go to Line, Vertex Mode, and then I'm just going to take these vertices, and I'm going to move those into position. Now, as you're moving these lines, be sure that you are moving the handles as well. So I'm going to take this handle and pull it around and point it off in the direction that I want the path to go. So I'm going to pull this down here, and I'm going to take this and pull that down. I'm also going to take this point, let me pull this down using my Move tool, and then use my Bezier handle and try to smooth that curve out. Looks good. Let's take our next point, let me pull this out, and we'll use our Bezier handle to shape that. And we're going to take this one and one more handle. Let's pull that out, point it up in this direction here. So I want this strap to lay right on top of the front of my backpack here. Now, one other thing that I want you to notice is that whenever you move these points around and you start to adjust their handles, you'll notice that the polygons can either stretch out really far. So in this case, you'll see that that one's really stretched out. And then we have these that are stretched pretty thin. So I want to move that into a position that keeps the polygon size fairly similar. Now, another way that you can adjust that is by adjusting your handle, by stretching that straight out, okay, in the common direction. Okay, so there we go. And let me pull this one out a little bit. Okay, we've got pretty good handle on the size of these, so we really don't have to do too much. Okay, so now let's hit F3, and we've got both of our straps here. So now what we're going to do in our next lesson is we're going to create the buckles. And we're going to create the buckles using our polygon modeling techniques, but this time I'm going to show you how to create the buckle only using the graphite modeling tools up here at the top. So I'll see you then.